could be shattered, crushed and ripped apart with such ease will never cease to terrify and fascinate us.
And you can learn more about what actually happened when the Titanic sank on the Channel 4 website at this address, www.channel4.com. How far are tourists from Death in the Alps, next on for a winter wonderland at the mercy of the avalanche?
What I like most about this club is it's so darn hard to get into.
It wasn't too difficult for me, then I know the club captain.
Well, El Capitano.
We don't just want any old Harry joining willy-nilly.
No jeans? No.
Women are welcome to play any time they like, as long as it's not Saturday morning.
My wife often says that this club is an extension of my office.
Timing, rhythm, power. It's all in the buttocks.
It's an exclusive membership here. You've only got to take a look at the car park.
I mean, how do you expect to be taken seriously if you're not a member?
Vorsprung durch Technik, as non-members would say.
Few things in life are guaranteed, but British Gas's electricity prices are guaranteed to be cheaper than your local supplier until 2001.
Between them, they're responsible for 50 deaths and 100 serious injuries.
If I'd broken the rules at work, I would have been punished. So why aren't they?
Dispatchers names and shames the bosses with the worst conviction rates for breaking Britain's health and safety laws. Dispatchers, bosses in the dock, Thursday at 9 on 4.
This is 4 in the path of raging snow, Death in the Alps.
Sometimes nature can do things once in 500 years, once in 1,000 years. Nobody knows.
You know, we were put there with small children. We're in an avalanche's path. I didn't feel safe.
And these avalanches will reach 250 kilometers per hour, so faster than a Ferrari.
It's what happens when a holiday wonderland turns savage, when alpine beauty disappears beneath a torrent of snow. This winter, avalanches in alpine ski resorts claimed over 70 lives and injured 200 people.
We didn't know there was any danger of an avalanche until it hit.
It was like hell. It was like hell. It's the only way I can describe it.
It was once the luxury of the rich, but skiing these days is the stuff of mass tourism. Over 750,000 people left Britain for the slopes this winter. But the popularity in winter holidays has come at a price. The 1999 ski season will be remembered for the avalanches which brought death to the Alps. Angry British tourists trapped in the Austrian Tyrol say they should never have been sent there.
You were really in a no-win situation. You had to sit tight and hope that you weren't going to be a victim.
It was an epic winter right across the Alps, with snow falling in huge amounts, to the delight of British skiers who'd been following the snow reports in the press.
I mean, we'd heard the snow reports in London said, you know, you're going to have some of the best snow of your lives.
Potentially unbelievable, it said, didn't it?
Yeah.
Potentially unbelievable conditions. In fact, I had one ski report that said that if you're going for this coming week and the week after, you have hit the jackpot.
But by the third week of February, the Austrian Tyrol was in the grip of severe weather, and it was going to get much worse. At the Avalanche Warning Centre in Innsbruck, the experts were getting increasingly worried. They knew there would be avalanches, but they couldn't predict exactly where they would be. And with high winds and blizzards on the way, there was no doubt lives were at risk.
This is a situation where it is very, very likely that large avalanches will occur, and therefore it's possible, it's not sure, but it's possible that also people are maybe killed by these avalanches.
24 people had already died in France and Switzerland. It would soon be the turn of the Austrian Tyrol. Roads were blocked, making it difficult to move the large numbers of tourists visiting the resorts. By Saturday, February the 20th, an official avalanche warning was issued at the highest possible rating, 5 on a scale of 5. It's rare. It means that the risk is very high and that numerous large and spontaneous avalanches have to be expected.
The weather forecast told us that we will get from Friday to Monday about 1.2 to 1.5 meters of fresh snow, and from Friday to Wednesday more than 2 meters of fresh snow, and therefore we knew that the avalanche danger will increase, and we know that the situation will get very, very bad.
On that same Saturday, many British tourists arrived in Austria to start their holidays. The weather was closing in on the Tyrol. What was to follow would pose awkward questions over the abilities of both the Austrian authorities and the British tour companies. It would also leave many holidaymakers in fear of their lives.
When we arrived at Innsbruck, we were ferried very quickly onto the coach and told that it was an emergency and we had to get on the coach quickly in order to get us through the road because they were due to be closing the road later that evening.
Emma Brennan, her husband and 8 friends arrived in Innsbruck on an Air Tours package. Like most other tour operators, Air Tours was still busing people in. As Emma's party set off, the Air Tours rep took a call on the bus.
Quite soon after we began our journey, there was a phone call came through to say that both the road and the train had been closed due to avalanche risk, and we were shipped back through to Innsbruck again and put up in a hotel there overnight.
That very Saturday morning, an avalanche had struck their destination, St Anton. It crashed down the mountain, missing the village, but hitting the site of a new railway station and awakening painful memories. 11 years before, 7 people died in another snowslide. According to the tourists, Air Tours did tell them the road was shut because of avalanche risk, but failed to warn them of the wider danger of avalanches in the town. However, on Sunday morning, the Air Tours group were bussed in.
But at that stage, we weren't really told that there was high risks of avalanche forecast, and there was no concerns about not taking us in. So we thought that because we were being taken in there, it was actually relatively safe.
In nearby Galtour, Jeff Jones, an experienced skiing instructor, had already been on holiday with his family for a week with Thomson, one of the British tour companies with clients there.
No, we used to wake up every morning and look out and hope that it was going to be better, but every day it just snowed and snowed and snowed.
Both Galtour and St Anton, like all the Tyrol, were by now subject to the highest possible avalanche risk, 5 on a scale of 5. This was such a rare event that in the previous 6 years it had only happened 3 times. For the Austrian authorities, the priorities were shutting the slopes, closing off dangerous roads and deciding which parts of town to evacuate first.
The weather was very, very bad. Helicopters couldn't fly. And second, this were about 100,000 people, so it's impossible to bring all these people out of the valleys.
Given the high avalanche risk, Matthew Jones now wonders why Air Tours took him into St Anton in the first place.
Taking us into a resort where there was already been an avalanche and there was already risk, where that risk was likely to be increased by the weight of snow falling, in retrospect seems like a crazy decision to have taken.
Air Tours insist that they took advice from the Austrian authorities before moving tourists in.
We have a very large team of people in Austria on the ground that were working there with the local authorities, and we took their advice, which was fine, the conditions were fine, and we sent our customers in there as normal.
Were you aware that that was the level of concern in the Avalanche Warning Centre in Innsbruck?
mean, I can't comment specifically on what the air tours team knew exactly about what the avalanche people were saying, but what we did know was that there was a danger of avalanches happening across Europe, but then avalanches do occur. Had the avalanche committee, who are the experts that we would be dealing with about St. Anton, told us not to take people in there, then we wouldn't have done so.
But the Avalanche Commission in St. Anton told us that it's not part of its function to give advice to tour operators on either taking in or taking out holidaymakers. The Commission is a small group of local people who decide whether to close roads or clear buildings.
Our decision in the Avalanche Commission is not to bring people in or to bring people out. It's our decisions are especially concentrated on avalanches and dangerous from avalanches. So as I said before, it's very hard to plan in these cases over 4, 5 or more days.
It would soon become apparent that information on the ground can be hard to come by. For those with access, carries information about avalanche risks. Otherwise, one tourism officer suggested that visitors should rely on their chalet girls.
The information which is given to the guests depends, of course, where they are staying. I mean, if people are staying in chalets which are run by the tour operators themselves with the chalet girl, it's, of course, in this case, the responsibility of the chalet girl to get the information.
By the time Matthew Jones and his friends woke up on their first full day in St. Anton, tourists in the resort were being restricted to the town. The ski lifts were closed, the runs off limits. But Matthew and his friends were completely unaware of this. One of his party set off to the village to register for ski school.
She got about 10 minutes down the road towards the town centre and met a German-speaking person, whether they're Austrian or German, I don't know. Not an official as far as I'm aware. And was told that the road to the resort was closed and